The USA lead Australia by 2-1 at half-time here in Rotherport. Welcome back. John, Edson Buttle has really dominated our thoughts in the first half. Just remind the viewers of the Buttle story, because it's an interesting one and quite a humanitarian one, really.
It really is, Martin, and it's a fairy tale story that's come so good for Edson Buttle, a player who really was unsettled and bounced around from club to club, on and off the field, so much adversity to go through, and then finds himself settled with the LA Galaxy under Bruce Arena, doing so well, scoring goals, and now he's with the U.S. team. It's unreal.
He got the U.S. off to a great start here, didn't he?
He did very well, and you know, Edson Buttle, it was always important about the approach to the game, the mental apply for him to say, I need to be confident and start well. And again, he did so well with the opportunity, scoring his goals, finishing them off. And I mean, he was in the right place at the right time for him. And great stuff by Steve Cherundolo for the second goal. But the first one was definitely individual, a brilliant individual opportunity for Edson. He's done well today, Mark.
Well, the fairy story, it takes him into the second half. There's a change for the Socceroos, and Carl Valeri has come on in midfield in place of Tim Cahill. And I think you can see the very recognisable features of Marcus Hannemann. Certainly recognisable after another very good season in England. He went to the Premier League with Wolverhampton Wanderers after his stint with Reading, and got himself into the team midway through the season and never looked back. And here he is, involved in the US goal in place of Tim Howard. And the team in all white have a 2-1 lead to defend in this second half. Here's Goodson. No sign yet of Oniewu, and maybe, John, the nature of the playing surface, as you referred to in the first half, might be a reason why Bob Bradley's going to keep him out of it.
Yeah, and Martin, again, it's you got to think big picture here. You know, you're going to, in 1 week from this point, to be competing against England, the first opening game. He's got to make sure he brings him along cautiously in training, and you don't want to risk it today in a match like this. The game, the field itself's been choppy and digging up quite a bit, so he doesn't want to lose his footing.
With Valeri on, it's not a direct swap for Cahill. It looks like Kalina's going to play further forward in the Cahill position. Here's Bocanegra, who's making a very successful recovery from hernia surgery only last month. Being pressed by Kalina in that more advanced role. So it is an opportunity for Carl Valeri, regularly used as a substitute, to impress. Plays in Italy in the second division, Serie B. Ricardo Clark just catching the angular figure of Josh Kennedy, who had that heading chance, we shouldn't forget, that could have made it 2-2. Harry Kewell is still sitting it out. Well, they really need to have him ready for the tournament, and this is no time to take any chances with his recovery from a groin problem. Australia's free kick is not delivered particularly well by Luke Wiltshire. It's difficult to strike this ball to the right. If you overhit it, it flies beyond even the man right coming round the back, and if you underhit it, that's just what's happened before your very eyes.
I've actually had an opportunity a couple of weeks back, Martin, to strike the ball myself. We're doing so it does, if you hit it true, like you said, it'll go. But the pace of the ball, it flies, and certainly makes it difficult, you know, for goalkeepers.
Here's Chipperfield round the back of the US here, and a bit of a reach for Kennedy. Again, the perhaps lack of truth in the surface, making it not much more than a half chance. You really have to be almost balletic balance to sort your feet out when a chance comes like this.
Well, it's a good ball, and it's into the danger area, just in between the back line and the keeper, Marcus Hanneman, who starts his second half. And Kennedy again finds himself free at the back post. I think you do better with that. I think we'll see from both teams, so Martin, some more changes as the game goes on. Just thinking big picture for next week. And Australia opens up in Group D against Germany. Have to be very prepared. As you said, they're resting Kuhl just not to take any chances at this point.
Bradley. Donovan trying to just touch it off there to Cherundolo, who did so well, and setting up the second goal for Edson Buddle. Yes, that Australia-Germany game is down in Durban. Dempsey. Finlay trying to stay on his feet, but unsuccessful. And Grella. And now Bradley within shooting range. It was a long way out, and it was a fair way too high.
Well, again, it was, when we take a look at Josie Altidore, he's talking about, I'd love to be out there striking that ball. He's happy for Edson Buddle, I'm sure.
Altidore, who is the youngest of the squad at 20. Here's Moore. Now Neal. Despite the sunshine, there's good temperatures to play in here. Not played too well there by Cherundolo with the back pass that Hanneman had no chance of preventing, and Bob Bradley reflects on a corner unnecessarily conceded. A chance for Australia to equalise for a second time. Garcia going towards the near post, gets a flick to it as well.
I think if you go back to Bob Bradley, he's been thinking that Australia's come out and had the better chances here in the second half, testing the back line of the US a little bit more. And we just saw that one strike from Michael Bradley, though, in the midfield. This is better from Landon.
And he's done well to keep it in. Finlay just pulling away. And the ball is through for Buddle. Finlay against the bar from close range. Bradley! And it's finally in, but the flag is up. It's not going to count.
Well, keeping Schwarzer very busy. Plenty of chances there to stick it away. And I'm not sure in regards to whether the assistant referee, Martin, called it offside or not.
Well, even before the offside, certainly when Finlay struck the bar, threatening, half-threatening ball at the other end. Didn't see the flag go up then. Whether it actually went up as the ball was put finally in the net.
Well, initially I thought that Buddle was going to get a strike on Schwarzer, but he took the ball a bit wide on his angle. He did well to cut it back into the box here. And you would think Finlay would finish from there, but he doesn't connect with it properly. His technique lets him down. There's the save from Bradley and the follow-up from Dempsey. He's not in an offside position. Finlay was, but Dempsey wasn't.
Yeah, it's that very grey area in the offside law about interfering with play, and I would say more often than not that goal would be given, but it's not been given here. But what was the key part of it was the ball from Buddle to Finlay. The flag definitely stayed down then, and rightly so. But
it was excellent awareness from Buddle. We talk about him with his two goals, but also now being a player that can set up others and be a creator himself as a striker. So it's good to see that side of his game.
Forward by Garcia, hoping for a runner there, either Kalina or Kennedy. We expect a series of changes. There's 6 permitted for each side. They've done 1 substitution so far. Jonathan Bornstein has put his match top on. So the left-sided, usually left back, will enter the fray soon. Dempsey, it's too high for him. Well, the goalmouth incident continues to mount. And you used a very good phrase to me during our break at half-time, John, to sum it up. Both teams have come here to play. And although that might seem obvious, it isn't really at this stage, when you're only 5 or 6 days away from starting a World Cup.
No, right, and it makes our job easier when teams come to play, because the other opportunity, the other way to look at it would be that they would sit back and be a little bit more tentative. So it's very important that they did come out to play today, and we expect a lot of changes towards the second half.
Well, it's Bornstein for Bocanegra, and the captain Landon.
Jonathan Bornstein.
Here's Bradley. Now Chirundolo. Donovan. Too high for even Schwarzer to deal with from Chirundolo. Put it right into an unmissable opportunity for Edson Buddle to give the USA this 2-1 lead late in the first half. Australia have got a free kick. Chipperfield. Certainly not a victory that's set in stone here for Bob Bradley's men. Here's Kalina. And maybe the lack of width on this playing surface as much as the lack of width on the Australian style of play. Garcia. Bornstein got there, but it's only deflected to Wiltshire. Kennedy coming in. Hanneman not decisive at all, nor Chirundolo really. Here's Dempsey. Finlay skipping away from Moore, who'll struggle to catch him. Finlay driving on, playing it through for Buddle, just forced him a little bit wide, and the chance to get the first hat-trick for some 16 months for the USA just evaporated in that moment.
Well, again, it's excellent in terms of burst of speed and presence of mind to look up and try to find Edson Buddle, but he tried to hold the offside position a little bit too long there, and as it's played, ball a little bit heavier than expected. But as you said, yeah, Edson would love to get the hat-trick today. Josie Altidore got the last one for the U.S. in qualifying against Trinidad and Tobago. And he's on the bench today.
Touched off by Kennedy. Kalina. In by Garcia. It's awkward for Demerit. Good save from Bresciano by Hanneman. Here's Chipperfield. Now Garcia. Wiltshire. Didn't give Kennedy much chance into his feet. Had the big strikers on going now. Garcia. And scraped away by Bornstein. A little bit of sustained pressure on the US goal and a very good stop in the US goal by Marcus Hanneman.
That's good for his confidence too. Martin will get his first shot on goal. He makes a save, especially when it looks like he has the sun in his eyes as well. That can't be helpful in the second half. It wasn't cleared properly to begin with, but he does stand up very big.
There's another player like Buddle to some extent who's had to wait for his call-ups into action, certainly not into the squad, but when you're the second or the third goalkeeper, you have to be a very patient man. That's just carried away from Josh Kennedy, who's on the prowl again for Pim Verbeek's men.
Well, again, they're getting some space wide, and they're looking for the U.S. to deal with those crosses, and that's what Australia is looking to do better at. Put more in the box and test the U.S. back line out.
Well, they are going to give him some more action. Dempsey had a couple of options to angle it back to if he could have reached the header. But Oguchi Onyewu, who's made this remarkable recovery, 7 months out and damage to the kneecap. Straight swap for Clarence Goodson. And now it's time to take a look at today's substitution, fueled by Gatorade. Well, on for the Socceroos, Dario Vidosic, who's an attacking midfield player by trade, plays in Germany, been on loan from Nuremberg to Duisburg. Hanneman leaving that to Bornstein to see out, which he does.
Vidosic has some good combinations and talented player with the ball. Some good pace. A lot of changes though for second half. Onyewu, a test for him at least to get some minutes in. Martin, they said they worked him very hard in training. Oguchi Onyewu needs to be very careful about today because the big game is on the 12th against England. Opening game of Group C.
And David Beckham with the England security man, Ray Whitworth, alongside him. But he's just a face in the crowd.
Today he may be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure if they know that Beckham's even there.
No. How quickly you are forgotten. Here's Luke Wiltshire. And he wins a corner off Jonathan Bornstein. Wiltshire will take the corner himself. Oh, it's just too high for Lucas Neal. And Chipperfield came in and couldn't force it home. Hanneman down by his right-hand post. And the USA looking vulnerable again. Neal. Chipperfield. Hooked away acrobatically and very effectively by Bornstein. Here's Buddle having to come and do a little bit of a shift in midfield. And they'll be grateful to get the free kick and just take a little bit of the heat out of the situation.
Now again, the second half, more pressure from the Australian as they get wide, Martin, you know, on this pitch, and they're putting a lot of balls into the danger area.
Foul by Valeri. Oniewu. Clark still in tandem in the centre of midfield with Michael Bradley here. Another chance for Cherundolo to attack. Buddle hoping a cross might come in. This is Donovan. No route to goal in the end for the all-time leading scorer.
Well, it's a shame, really, because Steve Cherundolo does well to create that opportunity, and it seemed like Landon just took a little bit too much time on the ball to make up his mind.
Chipperfield. Forward by Cherundolo. Buddle did well to stay onside. He's been a player they've been able to find regularly. It's another aspect of his game. Here's Bornstein. Touched by Bradley, back towards Dempsey, who still was for a second still going. Australia looking to counter-attack here. Vidicic. Back from Garcia. Garcia again, free kick. Again, Demerit's prepared to go a long way with those who he regards as his responsibility. And sometimes when you go that far, you don't have to give away the free kick.
Well, that's a decision that you said is so important from that position. You don't want to overcommit and go into the midfield too much, create too many fouls. You don't want to commit the fouls there.
And Oniewu does enough, but it's cost a corner. And, Steve Cherundolo, who scored the winner here in South Africa in 2007 when USA came for a one-game adventure, went home with a victory. Hanneman has missed it, and he apologises that when goalkeepers venture out like that, and the defenders like them to be positive, but they do like them to catch the ball or at least punch it away.
Well, again, once you make the decision, you've got to follow through and commit to that. And it looks as if, you know, either he loses it in sight or he just comes out and misjudges it. I say he misjudges that ball, and it's very difficult, Martin. We talked about it beforehand. And I had mentioned before, too, Martin, just, you know, again, with the sun setting here, could be something that he's fighting in the second half.
Yes, it gets dark around 5:15. We're an hour or so away from that local time. It will be a Winter World Cup. They don't come along very often. The last one was my first as a commentator, 1978.
I remember that. I was 11 years old watching you.
I'm surprised you told me you were born, John. Here's Bresciano. USA being challenged at the back again as a unit. Garcia, Vidicic, Oniewu with a block, and Dempsey gets it away. And Neil vigilant at the back. Australia have only been beaten once in their last 13 internationals. 2 defeats in over 20. So it would be a feather in the US cap. Might help if their goalkeeper wore a cap. Wiltshire. Called even between Onyewu and Kennedy. Well, it is a slow process to recover from a long-term injury, but they haven't got time. The US team, Gooch himself hasn't got time.
Well, again, it's not just the physical, Martin, it's also the mental approach from Goose. He has to be confident in himself. And I'm not sure if he just runs like that or if he's limping or his gait's not right. But again, if he has any hesitation in his mind to play at the highest level, it's going to hurt him. He can't have that. There's no hesitation. You have to step on the field and be ready.
All sorts of shirts and tops being worn to represent the world of football as is watched from South Africa, which of course for a long time as a national team was banned by FIFA because of the apartheid regime. I mentioned it once already, but it's something that you will hear again, and we're not ashamed to say it again, how far this country has come. The sport has benefited from the change of politics. To some extent, the sport, the prisoners on Robben Island, some of whom are now high figures in the government here, have, through the football that they had to play in extreme adversity, extreme deprivation and hardship, has helped create a country that is rightly a rainbow nation. And it's brilliant to see it here and see the freedom that these people have. It's so recent, it's so fresh. Fresh faces there who have a much better life to look forward to than their previous generations. Back by Bradley. Even the back pass is fraught a bit with peril. Nikita Rukavica, another attacker for Pim Verbeek. He, like Dave Carney, is also in the squad, have been with Twente Enschede in a very eventful season in the Netherlands. Off goes Richard Garcia, who's put in an energetic shift as usual, without too much to show for it. Chipperfield. The Socceroos continue to look dangerous. And Hanneman on another adventure that could have had an unhappy ending.
Well, I think at that point, that's where Marcus Hanneman needs to just stay on his line and let the defenders deal with it, because, you know, he's been caught with the sun a few times and misjudged the ball, and here again, getting caught out as it comes off of Bornstein on the back post, so something you got to keep an eye on.
In the end, it's Buddle who gets it away. His 2 goals have set up a potential victory here, but Australia have continued to threaten. Well, that gives you a hint of what the problems might be for Marcus Hanneman. They'll have to ask him afterwards, why no headgear?
Yeah, you would think he would put a cap on at least to help him out.
Bornstein. Behind for a goal kick, a multi-ball system from the ball boys here, so Mark Schwarzer turning away to get a replacement very quickly and get the Australians on the front foot, as they have been for good periods of this second half. A second half in which we should remember that USA had what looked like a perfectly good goal disallowed for Clint Dempsey. It is Rukavica. Wiltshire. Kennedy misses it. Mark Bresciano. Grella trying to get it wide. Kennedy, Rukavica, Vidosic, they're all in the middle. Chipperfield has put in a pretty good supply line, particularly in the second half. Buddle and Finlay have been out there since the start. Buddle's got 2 goals. Finlay should have had 2 goals. Now that is a haymaker of a challenge by Luke Wiltshire. And Clint Dempsey, we saw late in the first half, I think he's accepted Wiltshire's explanation a bit more than he accepted Craig Moore's.
Well, it was reckless in the first challenge, and the pitch getting torn up as well. The second challenge, he goes for the ball pretty harsh, but he wraps around with the second leg. So both teams going for it today.
And a mistake by Demerit. Kennedy. And Hanneman did well. It was his side, the
surface again.
Goalkeeper's near post side.
Yeah, and the surface, Martin, again, being the culprit when Jay Demerit went to make that pass and he gave the ball away. Gives an opportunity to Australia to put more pressure on the U.S. back line here in the second half. There's the sun.
It was Rukavica's shot. And over more beyond Chipperfield, who was making an extra man. It's this coming Saturday, the United States plays its first game of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. You know it, they take on England, and the coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern on ABC. Kennedy. Bresciano. Chipperfield to play it in again, not one of his better crosses that time. And we're away, Dempsey can take it on here.
That's a reckless challenge from Grella.
It's a yellow card for Grella. And Dempsey's actually been on the receiving end, and most of the stick that's been flying about hasn't been too much. It's been competitive, but competitive within the spirit of the game, mostly.
That was a very late challenge from Grella. And as you said, Dempsey has found himself on the receiving end of most of the fouls. Well, at this point, you would think that the U.S. would make a bit more changes to get other players on the field and also protect some of the ones that are out there, like Landon and Dempsey. You know they're going to be on the field when it comes to June 12th against England.
Away by Demerit. One back by Grella. I think that's what maybe the watching scouts here, it's not just England of course represented, the fact that the runners from midfield haven't been tracked particularly well. I think that's why we've had such an open game. And although no goals in the second half, certainly the suggestion of goals in the second half. Clark did well. Bradley. Dempsey. Bradley on the scene again. Bornstein. Clark. Nicely worked to Chirundalo. Play it on to Donovan. Dempsey's actually unmarked far post if it's a deep cross. And Buddle's in there. It comes for Dempsey though. He appreciated the idea.
You know, it's a good ball and it's good awareness from Landon Donovan. I thought Dempsey, you know, he had all acres of space to take that ball down. He wasn't aware when the ball did get switched over to him. He wasn't ready for it.
Well, it's bye-bye to Edson Buddle for this game, but I don't think we've seen the last of him in the weeks to come. He's staked a claim, John Harkes.
He has, and I think, you always want to make the manager have to rethink things. I think he's put some new ideas in Bob Bradley's mind about what he can contribute on the field. He's done very well today at Zimbabwe.
And DeMarcus Beasley's on, cap number 92. He's pulling ahead of John Harkes.
That's right. He's had you talk about a resurgence, Martin, and he had to fight very hard to get back into the squad. Inconsistent play throughout the years and not getting a lot of playing time with Rangers as well. And the injuries he's had, but you see him, Bob Bradley puts his trust in certain players, and DeMarcus Beasley getting an opportunity for 2010.
Strong header away by Onyewu. Oh, it's a break on. It's not actually the right ball from Bradley, but Finley's made something of it. Well, they had a chance to get Donovan in. Dempsey might do that. Donovan's shot in the end is comfortable for Schwarzer. If the original ball had gone to the right, there was no cover for Australia.
I'm just not sure what Finley's thinking there, because Landon Donovan is full stride. Just needs that ball laid in front of him, the weight of the pass, and he cuts it back in. He makes it difficult. Could have been an easy ball right into Landon's stride.
Well, there's only a crowd we expect of around 7,000 to be announced when the gate is revealed, but my goodness, they've got great lungs, because the the noise level of the trumpets is still going.
Well, we know the vuvuzelas, which we experienced through the Confederations Cup, and the sound that they can make in the stadiums. Look at this ball here.
Finley. And a bit of a handoff by Lucas Neal. Finley made the most of it, made too much of it really, I think. Neal knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew he was in trouble if Finley had got the better of him. Here's Bradley. And Dempsey. He's got Donovan in the middle, but not quite there. It's really set up for the US to play on the counter-attack now, as Australia search and search again to level it up a second time.
And they are pushing forward quite a bit, and they're sending the outside backs numbers forward, trying to stretch out the US attack, and it does leave acres of space for the US in behind for the striker, especially Dempsey. He's just hanging out front, being the only player. There's Harry Kuehl warming up, Martin. Might see him even for a few minutes today.
Neal met by Demerit. Good anticipation by Beasley. Here's Dempsey through the middle now. With I know, I was just thinking, John, it's like a European winter pitch, and I have to say we shouldn't forget the time of year. We've come from summer solstices almost in our respective countries, but they've had some bad weather, and of course I'm not sure how many the ground staff is to prepare a surface here. Hercules Gomez, another of the so-called fringe players in this squad, to replace one of the senior men. Clint Dempsey off. Gomez on.
Substitution for USA, number 8, Clinton Dempsey, replaced by number 9, Hercules Gomez.
And Marcus Hanneman must have heard a whistle
yeah, he did.
that wasn't apparent for all of us.
Wow, I was like, what? Very casual in his approach to that ball, punching in his own net. So he certainly knew what was going on.
He knows his own mind, doesn't he, Marcus? So he's trying to make a point, I don't know. Chipperfield has kept it in. Well, one or two of the Australian players were coming back, but Bresciano was able to stay onside, running from deeper. Wasn't a very advantageous angle.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Kennedy's screaming for the ball in the middle of the goal area. He's asking for it to be cut back.
Wives and girlfriends? Who knows? Maybe we'll have to learn. Certainly as a ladies' part of the stadium. Demerit. Forward by Cherundolo to Donovan. Gomez is making his move as Donovan tries to cut a swathe through the Socceroos back line. Schwarzer hasn't had too much to do. But, was brave and bold. We're actually watching the third and fourth oldest players that will take part in the World Cup in the two goalkeepers here. That's the responsible work by Bradley. Donovan. Gomez trying to stay onside, and he's in. He's got Finlay with him, and he looked for Finlay unselfishly. But there was no devil in the pass, maybe some devil in the pitch. No maybes about it, there was some devil in the pitch.
Yeah, he pointed to the pitch right away, and sometimes you see tennis players point to the racket after they strike it, but he doesn't catch it right. He looked to make his mind up early. He found a lot of space there, which is good. Steve Cherundolo as a right back coming forward has done so well today for the U.S. You see Gomez trying to get on the end of some of these balls and try to get in on the end of this corner kick as well.
Well, a goal now would surely wrap it up for the USA. Instead, it's a goal kick. Gomez, who scored when he came on as a substitute against the Czech Republic recently. Kubica, but not for long. Bornstein kept him at bay. Wiltshire complaining that he was being held by Beasley, who's been around the block a few times and knows some of the darker arts, I'm sure, as experienced pros get educated in. And just a little concern.
I should be concerned because DeMarcus Beasley was holding off, but he got whacked by Wiltshire in the back. I'm surprised the referee allowed that to play.
Here's Neil. The rhythm has got a bit less in the second half, largely as the playing surface has got worse. All just standing up there and allowing Onyewu to clear. Bresciano. But in a few minutes' time, these two squads will pretty much disappear from public view until they step out for their opening fixtures, and we'll be with them all the way. Kennedy. Just away by Landon Donovan. Keel disappearing down the tunnel. Whether that means he's going to get ready for a few minutes here, but I can't see the point in it, John, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, they've had so many concerns with his groin and the injuries. They want to get him as healthy as possible to start the first game for them against Germany in Group D.
And Kennedy, it's a good touch and good covering of the movement by Rukavica, by Demerit, when the defenders earn their money. Wiltshire Demerit's challenge needed a bit of covering from Cherundolo. It got there. Demerit's there again. Grella. And Hercules Gomez was wrong side, really. Always going to be in danger of giving away a foul.
It's a good opportunity for Australia, who want to at least get a point out of this game, build some confidence going through to their next match. Hanneman trying to set up his wall. Looks like Bresciano going to take it.
Chipperfield having a look at it as the left footer. But Bresciano says it's mine, but straight into the wall. Hanneman couldn't prevent the corner. Problem for Robbie Findlay now.
Yeah, Finley in the wall here. There's the strike as it comes right off of him. And as he steps, I'm wondering if he twisted his ankle as he stepped there, or if it was just from the strike of the ball as he was in the wall. You don't need another injury right now to a striker, especially a young one trying to push into the starting lineup.
It's more going in. Australia's throw.
Well, at this point, the US are just kind of happy to get out with the win 2-1 and wrap things up. No more injuries, and Australia pushing forward quite a bit.
Three added minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of time added on.
Well, Vidicic, victory's not in the bag yet, but it could be sealed now. Findlay seems okay. Got Gomez with him. What's Findlay going to do? He's going alone. It was a good step over. But that's been the story of his day. Some days, as for Edson Buddle, they fly in for you. Other days, you can have nothing to show for it. The important thing for Robbie Findlay is getting goal-scoring opportunities.
And that's exactly what I was just going to say, Martin. The way that he ran head-to-head, one-on-one at that player, good confidence, stepping over the ball, it was very good. But the strike wasn't there. And last year, Robbie Findlay scored loads of goals with Real Salt Lake. This year, only one. So he's got to get back on that score sheet. Builds confidence in all strikers.
Yes, confidence is vital in all positions, particularly in front of goal, where you feel judged. Even if your team wins 6-0 and you come off and you haven't scored as a striker, you feel that you've shortchanged everybody, especially yourself. But Robbie Findlay's got a part to play, but this day, I think it's going to go down as Edson Buddle Day. Bornstein's throw. Bradley has to shift it quickly, and that's not easy.
And Bradley's done very well in that central part of the midfield today. Move the ball, staying alert.
Kennedy, maybe one last chance for Australia, but Kennedy pressed out of it. Donovan skims it across, and it is 3-1. And Bob Bradley has a victory to end his preparations with Hercules Gomez, the man on the spot. They started well, they finished well. John Harkes.
Unbelievable. You talk about efficiency in a striker. The amount of time that he's been given with the US side as a fringe player coming in, and the goals he scored against Turkey in the last friendly, and then here he is on the receiving end of an excellent ball driven in by Landon Donovan. He's on the doorstep, Martin, the right place in the right time. That's half the battle for all strikers. and a good finishing touch. Well done to Herculez Gomez.
He's a headline writer's dream, isn't he? With a name like Hercules. And he's making a headline or two. But there is a bit of a nasty here. But maybe it's just cramp for Ricardo Clark. But sometimes muscles get tired. Overuse is what the fitness men call it. And it could be a strain, a minor problem, one would hope. So close to the US start next Saturday. He's played right from the off here, but he's not quite made it to the final whistle. Just feeling that top of the hamstring in the glute, as the medical men call it, around the buttock area. Well, it was Pim Verbeek's team trying to get an equaliser in the last 15 to 20 minutes, have set up the US to play so well on the break in the latter stages, and other opportunities have gone away, but that one was taken. Edson Buddle, though, set up the victory, and these are the players that have won it, who've not really been to the forefront of all the talking in the lead-up to the World Cup. The backup men, Buddle and Gomez, have shared the goals between them. And Australia, who've only lost one of their last 13, have been beaten here by Bob Bradley's USA.